let's circle back around, Don. And we've been talking, of course, about Edwin Diaz, his 10-game suspension for sticky stuff, which is really the only thing that sort of marred a really great last 10 games for this Mets team. Diaz was asked, was anything different this time around?
They always check me. They let me pitch, but today was harder than early in the season, so I don't know. They thought it was stickier, so I take the suspension.
Yeah. Now, this is an interesting cut when you read the name of it, but I know what it's saying. Edwin Diaz said he told the ump to smell his hand. Excuse me?
Like I said to them, you can smell my hand, you can check, you can do whatever you want. We always use the same thing.
He also went on to ask the ump to pull his finger. Unrelated, Don. But he just couldn't help it. Diaz was asked, did you wash your hands?
I didn't ask for it. As soon as they saw me, they was trying to throw me out of the game. I understood, that's their job, that's part of the game. But when they throw me out of the game, I just keep walking to the door.
See, that's the thing. See, that's where he loses me. I will defend him. I do think that there's inconsistencies in this rule. I don't like it. I think he should have had the right to get his hand washed. It wasn't on his belt, wasn't on his glove. But, Peter, if you feel that you're being kicked out of a game and you're going to be suspended for the next 10 games, not be able to participate in the Subway Series, I'm sorry, you got to be more. You got to be upset about it. You got to fight a little bit more, don't you? I understand what they're doing, and why are you taking it lying down? It makes you seem guilty. It makes you seem like, you got me. Tried to get away with it, didn't. My bad. I'll take this suspension. Doesn't it sound like that? Yeah, he's defending himself, but at the same time, he seems cool with it. I would not be cool with it.
Yeah, to me, it does kind of sound like I get it. It's their job. Lastly, Diaz's overall reaction to being tossed.
I just say I use the same thing always. Rock rosin, sweat, and I put my hand on the dirt a little bit because I need to have some grip on the ball. So that's why I was explaining to them. They said it was too much thick. I understood, but at the end of the day, I was using rock rosin, sweat, and put my hand on the dirt.
See, I'm sorry. There's got to be more fight. Now, if he had not been suspended, like if there was no 10-game suspension attached to getting thrown out last night, then I would have no problem with it because the Mets ended up winning the game. So, yeah, he got kicked out. It's kind of embarrassing, national television, but the Mets went on to win the game, so you're probably thinking, what's the big deal? But he's facing a 10-game suspension. And if he feels that he was wronged, Peter, then there's got to be a little bit more fight out of him and a little bit more fight out of the Mets. So that I don't get. Because I want to defend him, and I still think the rule is ridiculous, and there's got to be some more nuance to it, and there should be some more consistency to it. But that aside, boy, he comes across as guilty.
Yeah, I mean, except for the part where he says, it was rosin and dirt, but it does seem like he's too comfortable with it. Here's manager Carlos Mendoza's explanation.
They thought it was too much. Diaz kept saying it was rosin, sweat, and dirt. And Vic thought that, he crossed the line there. And, obviously the rules are the rules. And they made the decision to throw him out.
It makes this, Don, the more we hear, the less it makes sense.
It just comes across like the Mets got caught.
I think they're almost saying it. I mean, otherwise you'd say, wouldn't you be angry?
I would think they're.
Wouldn't you be defensive?
How would the Yankees take this? The way Boone gets thrown out of it seems like every other game. He got thrown out this weekend again. I mean, why do you take it lying down? If you believe that your player did nothing wrong, then you just can't. At the end of the day, I guess you have to eventually take it, but that doesn't mean that you've got to be happy about it. Like, that's just the way that it is. I get it. I understand. Well, then what you're telling me is you got caught. That's what it just sounds like to me. They're saying, no, we didn't do anything wrong, that it was rosin, it was dirt, it was sweat. But, hey, all right. I lose my closer for the next 10 games. All right, what are you going to do?
But they got to do what they got to do.
All right. It is what it is.
And here's how Mendoza feels about not having Diaz on this run.
Look, we've been through a lot this year, and we'll find a way to get through it. We'll continue to piece it together, and guys are going to have to step up. I'm pretty confident that we'll get guys here that are going to be able to get us to the finish line here when he's done.
All right, well, I like the attitude, but we're going to be able to talk to both Boone and Mendoza tomorrow at 3:10. We're going to have Aaron Boone, manager of the Yankees. At 4 o'clock, we'll have Carlos Mendoza, manager of the Mets, and we can ask Boone about Volpe and his defense of being thrown out at third.
It's 3:10 Mendoza, 4 o'clock.
Oh, I got it.
That's what I'm told.
Well, I said it wrong, and I said it was right, and I was told it was right. All right, whatever.
Well, listen, we're doing
it's my fault. I should just look back at my phone, but...
So listen, the one part that he's downplaying a bit here is obviously this team went from being in shambles and everyone ready to move on and give up on the year to being one game out of a wild card, 8-2 over their last 10. They're sniffing 500 again, and they now have 2 games with the Yankees, which all of a sudden feels a lot more meaningful than it did. So I appreciate the sort of we've been dealt a bunch of bad hands, but to Don's point, the Mets have gone on a run. They have salvaged a season. It went from someone like Don LaGreca, a fan, who was ready to completely move on with this season and not pay attention, to now being fully invested in this moment. At least, even if you don't believe they're going to win the World Series, excited to watch night to night and see what they can do. And you have a fan base that's believing again. And right as you're getting that stride, you lose maybe your most valuable player over the next 10 games. That's a big L at this time. It's actually, Don, worse than some of the things that they dealt with when they were in shambles, because now it means something. Now they're putting something together. We're 2.5 weeks before the All-Star break. You're really pulling something together. This hurts more, Don, than some of the things that have happened. So to that point, if you were not guilty, wouldn't you throw a complete fit?
Yes.
I mean, yes. So you're just, you know what it is, Don? You and I are gullible. You and I are sitting here pretending that they're protesting in earnest. They're not. They're admitting we got caught.
Yeah, that's the way.
That's all it is. And you and I are too dumb and naive and innocent to even believe anything else. They're openly admitting they got caught. That's
what it feels like to me, without saying it. Because you would be red hot. Peter, if I'm a pitcher and I didn't do anything wrong, if I'm Diaz and I get thrown out of the game, all right, that's one thing. We won the game anyway. Let's just move on. But I'm going to be suspended for the next 10 games. 10 games. And the All-Star break's right around the corner. So depending on how things go, he may not pitch for the next 3 weeks. I would be red hot if I didn't do anything wrong. It would take a lot of the edge away from my argument if I got caught. If I was wrong, then you know what? I probably would just say, all right, you got me. But I can't say that because it would look bad. But it comes across like, all right, we tried to get away with it. We didn't get away with it. Let's move on. And that's the third Met in the last year. And of the what is it, 7, or is it the 10 that have been thrown out, 3 of them are Mets. So what's going on here? I would like, even though he's not having a great year, but he's starting to kind of come together here. I want to know I got my closer in 2 important games coming up here. So if they did get caught, Peter, then why is he doing this? And now I have to wonder, is his effectiveness recently been because he's going to the sticky stuff? That's, again, we'll talk about it with Carlos tomorrow at 3:10 on exactly why they took the knee on it.